All right, we got 5 minutes on the clock. What's your name and what are the names of your podcast shows? You've got two of them.
Yes, that's right. My name is Dr. Katrina Burrus, and I am the host for the Excellent Executive Coaching Podcast, and the other one's called Excellent International Leadership.
Wow.
So, why two podcasts? Two avatars. One is executive coaches, which I am an executive coach. The other is for the international leaders, which is my type of client. So, how do you get to know more of them? So, how did I make money with some podcasts? Indirectly, because I took the podcast and I went to a journalist, a newspaper that had also their virtual online newspaper. And I said, look, I will interview top-notch leaders. This was in Switzerland because I'm Swiss and American. And I will give you that free content. And of course, these were exactly my avatar. So they were reading, economics and political items. And of course, they had my podcast of interviewing with the type of client I want. So I got very interesting clients through that means. So that's one. The other way is more maximizing your content with minimum effort. So I podcast once a week for each podcast. And so how do I write a book with all this content that I'm creating? First, by making quotes. By making quotes, what I can do is eventually at the end of the year make an ebook of all the quotes from people. Then the other thing is you can do tips that people have said. And of course, you recognize them. You're promoting the people you're interviewing as well. What's a tip? What it's its purpose, what it is, why you need it, and how you do it. So you have tips. So at the end of the year, you can have a mini book, which you can sell. And then the other one is, which I haven't done yet, but is to interview a group of people that I've interviewed and create an event. So I moved from Switzerland to the US, so I couldn't implement that yet. But of course, that's great because you're perceived as the expert and you're getting this free content and they're happy to promote whatever they want to promote. And that's important. It's got to be a win-win.
Yeah. Well, I think you're onto something really big is you're already going to interview people and it drives them indirectly to your coaching practices. So you're making money for your coaching practice, but then you went to the newspaper and the editorial and you say, you want this content too, you pay me for this. So you're getting paid by the newspaper and then paid by the potential guests that come from your guesting and from the audience. It's brilliant. How did you think of that?
Well, because I wanted to have more clients. So the thing is, I lived in Geneva, Switzerland. So there is a huge international community. And I found every newspaper there is, of course, in French. But I thought I could give them access to another market by producing podcasts in a different language. So using contacts, I got to the person and then convinced them, especially because if you have high-powered leaders, it takes a lot to get to them. So this way you can have access to them. So that's one of the reasons it was most useful. Plus, I'm a junkie to learn, obviously. Yeah. So I love to learn from the people, but how am I going to use it? How am I going to make it very practical for my listeners that are executive coaches, but they're also entrepreneurs and leaders. Yeah. So that was a really concern that I had. But, making money on the way because podcasting costs money.
Sure
and
does.
Need to find sponsors in one way or the other.
Yeah, super cool. So what are the name of your two podcast shows? So as people are listening in, they go, that was a brilliant idea. I want to learn more from you. What are the names of your podcast shows?
Excellent Executive Coaching. And the other one is called Excellent International Leadership. So the brand is excellent. And who doesn't want to be excellent?
Who doesn't want to be excellent? Well, man, I'm so glad to have you on the show today. And we did it all under 5 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen listening in, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. And we'll see you on the next one, all under 5 minutes.